Hello everyone, how are you doing? We've had a lot of work get done on Project Stormwind, so I'm not going to take too much time. Let me turn down the music a little bit. Alright. What music? Well, I paused it while I got it turned down. Alright, so now it's down to about 10%. That should be good enough. So I did a lot of work. As you might be able to tell, there's something behind me that you might want to see. Good morning, pink hair. So, first things first, I want to show you... actually, no. First things first, I'll show you what I have behind me. This is Ogrimmar. This was exported with Project Stormwind. Or rather, imported. As, you know, old members of the Horde might remember, this is classic Ogrimmar. All sorts of, fun things in here. I'm noticing a couple of problems right now, but I think that has to do with Lightwave, not, the exporter. Alright, yeah, what am I noticing? I am noticing right here, even though I have, there's a little bit of a transparency issue here. Might have to take that stuff to the transparency to clipping rather than this, because it doesn't do well with fog. And I just turned the fog on, like, moments ago before I started the stream. In fact, here, let me just turn the fog off temporarily. You can see that problem goes away. Yeah, definitely clip maps. But, yeah, with fog, classic Ogrimmar. Now, I should probably show you something else. This is the classic Ogrimmar I did way back when. This was, obviously before, the cataclysm happened. But using the technology at the time, I had to manually pull out all the data just to, I had to pull out all the data, then pull out the textures, convert the textures, reapply the textures. I mean, I did a lot of work with the WoW Model Viewer just to get it so I could pull it out and have the texture information there in the program. So I could go, okay, this texture, whatever it's named, this is its file path, and I got export and copy that out. And, I can actually show you a temporary version. This was, me working on doing that. Just, okay, I've got some of the textures on. Let's do a render and see how it is. Okay, that's not bad. And then I, got to this. It was just this part of the valley. But now, this imports directly. I did a little bit of work to do the transparency stuff, but other than that, this is a pure export or pure import. Veggie fry. So we've done quite a bit of work. And not only that, we can, start flying through here. Start doing animations. Not happy with that one? Okay, let's do this one. Not happy with that? Let's do this one. Now, granted, I'm, keeping these all to 120 frames, but... And then we got ones like this, where it's just very simple, but it shows off, so much. Yeah, it's definitely come a long way since the 2000 aughts. And all of this, I exported all of this last night. I put this onto export, I went to bed, I woke up, here was the finished model. So I don't know exactly how long it took. But, yeah, actually, this file was actually created in 2009. So this image itself, the image itself was created in 2009. Early 2009, actually. It was January 18th. So about 5 years ago, only a few weeks ago. So, yeah. But now we can do this. We got all this landscape and everything. Here's the drag. And here's Thrall's room. I actually had to put lights in here because otherwise I couldn't see anything when I was working. Because I was, putting lights in here, I was checking all the textures and, these things are a definite bitch, though. But as you can see, we still lack a lot. We need, yeah. Well, I'm also using a little bit more modern technologies, so I use DP lights. I gotta say, they just give you so many good looks, soft shadows, stuff like that. But the renders of these is just phenomenal. And then here's the crag. Now here's something I never yeah, I know DP lights is awesome. Now here's something I never quite realized about the crag, or no, not the crag. Yeah, the crag. If I render this, there's shadows on here. And when I first saw that, I was like, oh well, the texture doesn't close at the texture isn't double-sided on the top, so it's letting the light through and stuff. So I decided, okay, let's take a look at this. And that's where the camera is. So let me get to about right there. There we go. All right, so there's the crag. And wait, what? It looks like there should be a rock there, but if we look up, there's nothing there. Was there never a yeah, look at that. I don't think there was ever a rock ceiling on this. I would have to load up the a 1.0 or 2.0 version of a server in order to check this out. And quite frankly, that's tempting. Because this is there was never a roof. So that means sunlight would actually get in here. So, as much as I think that, no, this shouldn't be here, all this light from the ceiling, yes, it would. In a realistic sense, yes, it would. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, but in Lightwave you can only have one fog. I mean, I suppose I could theoretically envelope it, but right now I'm just switching between cameras. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I did a little bit of work in here. I mean, that was custom texture work, so it adds a little bit of flavor to that. But there's a lot in here that's just, almost perfect. I mean, again, transparency for these kind of things has to be done. But, yeah. Yeah. All sorts of purple smoke and getting lights on them. Alright. So, this is the state of Project Stormwind. Now, you'll notice that there are some problems. First of all, this doesn't take into account double-sidedness on some of these materials. It also doesn't take into account transparency. So, it's something, we'll have to work with. But you'll also notice right here, we're missing water. I mean, there should be water right here, well, behind the camera, but yeah, on the right side of the camera now, there should be a water. There should be a little lake here that you can fish with. So we need to get liquids exported from this. Now, I went looking at it. Apparently, it's the same format used in ADT. Now, if you remember from yesterday, yeah, I've saved all this, but I'm going to save it all again just in case. if you remember from yesterday, oh yes, and I solved that issue where you try to load two WMOs and they crash. It turned out at the end it was trying to... I can think. I can say words. At the end of the script, it turned out it was destroying the log, and that's what the problem was. It said, okay, destroy log. Okay, good. All right, new script. Now use the log to... Wait, what? So, yeah, the log got destroyed. I just removed that, and everything works fine. So it only destroys the log now if there's an error. Although maybe I should not do that too. At any rate, as you recall, when last we left off, the Lance... Hey, dialers. We're showing off the things I did in between last night's stream and today's stream. We were working on the water. It was going super high, and it was spreading out way too far. Well, I went looking into the code. In fact, let me bring the code up. ADTs. There we are. It's somewhere around here. Anyways, the problem was, I was thinking, oh, vertex chunk. Okay, well, we were looking and looking, trying to, okay, it's not here, so it's probably up here. Yeah. Okay, so here we are in the map chunk, and I was going through this saying, okay, why is this not picking up? It gets the vertices, it sees all these normal vectors and everything. Why is it not seeing the water chunk? Well, here's the thing. I went looking inside some of the ADT files, and it turns out when we were doing this, the first thing it does is it reads a string. So it says, okay, here's a string. This is our main little thing. That's what we say. Okay, this is for vertices. This is for this. This is for that. But then immediately it also reads the size. So it should be MCVT and then 4 bytes of size. It turns out that every time it tries to reach those 4 bytes of size for the liquid group, the result was always 0. So rather than putting in their size, it's always 0. And as you can see here, if size equals 0, continue, which means skip. So there we go. It just skips it. So what I had to do was go, okay, where does it say size? Where does the liquids get declared? Well, let's check the header. Maybe it's in the header. And we let's see, is it up here or is it down there? Here's the chunk. And we come down here and we see offset liquid and liquid size. So the information we needed was off in a different header. So, ooh, Twilight Princess, my favorite. Reading code is not easy. Unless you do it yourself, then you understand it perfectly. As for Twilight Princess and Mario Sunshine, I actually have something for you to consider. Where did I put it? Here it is. Oh, let me grab this too. What you might want to consider is getting one of these. This is called a dolphin bar. Now, basically what it is, this is a little... Actually, here, let me go big. This is a dolphin bar. It's basically a little sensor. You can put it right in front of your computer. And it has a USB port. So you can actually take this, plug it directly into your computer, set it down in front of your computer monitor, take your Wii controller, and play Zelda Twilight Princess with it. So I could just be sitting here going, boo, 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 boo. And we might do that, actually, when we actually get around to playing Twilight Princess. is I'll be doing it right here because Dolphin, the Wii emulator, actually plays Twilight Princess pretty well. And with this, you're actually getting the full experience. You're not trying to do keyboard versions. So, there's that. So, that's something you might want to look into. I think this was about 20, maybe 30 bucks. But I'll be able to play any Wii game on my PC now. So, that's an advantage. I actually had to... this is an older Wii remote. I have like a first gen Wii. Well, maybe not first gen, but earlier gen. Before they included the Motion Sensor Plus. So, right there, I had to buy a motion sensor. So I could play the second Zelda game. What was it? Skyward Sword. So now, so yeah, I got these out of storage so I could actually play some Zelda on the Wii U on the stream. And we'll probably be doing that at a later point. But, you know, I thought you might enjoy that. Oh, the GameCube version! It's actually kind of interesting that there are two different versions of Twilight Princess. The Wii version and the version for GameCube. And there's a difference between them. Their maps are completely flipped. It's like they just took the whole image and then said minus Y. Yeah. Y equals minus Y. So everything's flipped. But from everything I can hear, from everything I've heard, the GameCube version is actually the one that's legitimate or canon or however you want to phrase it. But yeah. All right. I'm going to get back to programming. All right, so all right, what do we back up? Custom fog. Volumetric lights, that's a thought. But right now, that's not something I'm going to set up, although that is a thought. I don't know, is there a comment plug-in or something? Or a way I could, create a null and then put comments on there? Because that's actually something to consider for all sorts of stuff. Ooh, that's good. Let's turn the music up a little. Yeah. Well, the nice part is, dialers, you actually do legitimately own the game, so you could theoretically emulate it. Personally, I like the Wii version. I prefer it. That's right, custom object. But you know what we need is basically a null with a node on it. Let me get an example here. We have a null. We can say fog. But what I want is, like, under geometry, add custom node, there needs to be like a comment thing. Or maybe deform, but I think just custom object. I mean, you got effector, which, might be... Oh! Item comment display. Okay, item fog, color, black, alpha, justification, line offset. Line offset? Huh. Item shape. Well, something you might have just now noticed is I have something here called Kjasi's nulls. This is I actually wrote this plugin. I'm still working on it too. But it's, a whole bunch of, standard null, a whole bunch of shapes that we, might need as 3D artists. And you can see there's all sorts of stuff, text. We could put in text as fog null. And there we go. We have a nice little text. But we can offset the text. So, we can say there. And then nullative to relative to null offset. So if we were to offset the null for some reason, fog null will stay there unless that is clicked, in which case it will just go, oh, okay, I'm right here. So when we move the null again, or the the offset for it, it sticks with that. Let's see. Also do custom colors, also including transparency. So you can have a transparent null if you needed it. Rotate after offset. There's all sorts of show offset normalization. We can change the scale of this. But let's go back. And we got 2D. Actually here, let me lift this up. We got 2D nulls, and we can put these on any axis. We've got cubes, simple spheres, dense spheres. So you can go through here and say, oh, okay, that's a really nice dense sphere. Got pyramids, diamonds, squares, circle, triangle. Well, there, triangle. So if we, there. And then an X, because you never know when you're going to need an X. But with that, you could actually make a PlayStation controller. Let's see. You have a grid. So if for some reason you ever need a grid, you can just have that and say, okay, well, let's see, that's 1, and I forget how many are in there, but I think it's 10. So if I actually put this to 10, as you can see, it matches 1 to 1. So yeah, at a scale of 10, each grid is 1 pixel, is 1 meter. But you can adjust that however you want. Let's see. And then we have an arrow. It's a very simple arrow, but it's an arrow. Because you never know when you might need an arrow. And here, let me click off this for a second. And you can see there, it's actually showing you the origin offset. And you can, and it will scale too. So if we scaled it, it would, But when you normalize it, if you don't normalize it, you actually get, all sorts of different scale stuff. Yeah, I know, I'm just showing off what I can do. And then we have double arrows, and then we have a cross arrow, and then we have a hexagon. Yeah. Full ring. So if you ever need to show us, okay, this is where a circle goes. We just rotate this. I have used this in actual productions. 3/4, half, just a quarter. And then I started going, hey, what about curved? Because what if you needed to have an arrow that goes that way? Well, you could probably, if I added envelopes to these, you could probably do that yourself. So that may be something I do in a future programming session. But we have the curved arrow, double curved arrow, cross 3D, yeah. Cross arrow curved. Yeah, maybe. And then we have the 3D arrows for when you need a little bit more dimensionality. Double, triple, well, quad. And then, let's see, full 3D arrow ring. So this is just a very simple way to dimensionally show that things rotate in a certain direction. So if the regular arrow ring doesn't work, you could always use the 3D arrow ring. And then you have third, half, and quarter. And then you have human eye. Because you never know when you might need to indicate that, oh, this is where a human eye is. Then you have a human foot. And then you have a robot's foot. And then you have a hoof. And then you have a tube. Then you have a gear, which is actually probably the most complex of any of the shapes. And then, in a reference to one of the oldest arcade games that I can remember playing, you have a tank. I don't know when, but you might need a tank at some point. I mean, it doesn't render or anything, but you never know when you're going to need a tank. Here, let me... Oh, an eagle in a barrel. That's a thought. Yeah. But yeah, that's, what you can do with these guys, with my plugin, Kjasi's Knolls. I've learned a lot doing this Project Stormwind, so I'm sorry. But, that's, Oh, a teapot. Well, here's the problem. In order to make it a null, you basically need to create a outline. So, I haven't seen the need for a teapot yet, but I'm not going to discount that. Alright, so, anyways, what were we talking about before we got distracted? Oh, yeah. So, it turns out that liquid is, their offset is set here, and the size is set here. Thank you. So I went, okay, well, let's go to the end of this. And, each one had an offset. So I was like, okay, so I'll just offset to that. And, well, I tried offsetting to that, and I got crap. All data everywhere. And I was like, wait, what's it reading? Okay, let's do another check. And so I grabbed a offset, and then I can actually probably comment a lot of this stuff out now. All right, so I went and I looked at the offset, and it was nowhere near an MQL or an MCLQ. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? Oh, maybe it's offset from the header. So then I went up here to the top, and I said, okay, find the header. And this code was underneath here. So I was figuring after the header, this many points. Well, it turned out that at that point, it was actually offset by, 125 points or so, or bytes or so. I was like, okay, that's probably the size of the header. So I put it above the header, and it found the chunks perfectly. But even though it was finding the chunks and I was actually getting decent data, every so often I would have a point that would just shoot up 15 billion, 15 billion on a float. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? We have data down here. We have data for height min and height max. So, if we run it, well, first we'll grab the height data. Then we'll see if it's bigger than height max. If so, just set it to height max. If it's less than height min, just set it to height min. So I did that, and we ended up with something like this. Ah, it lost me. It lost its place. Here we go. Wait, what? So here we are. And shaded. As you can see, we now correctly have water. It's at the proper height, mostly. It's not double-sided. I need to set that in the materials and all that, but we now have correct water. And I think I have a scene. Load. Yes. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Fenrir Castle, actually. Okay, where am I? Okay, there we are. Ah, I forgot. I also did an offset. So let's just grab those, and we'll grab those. Now, something I actually did before, like literally just before the stream, so I haven't had a chance to build it or anything, was I started to add timers, because, you know, Ogrimmar finally loaded, but I have absolutely no idea how long it took. So I decided I would just... So yeah, there's Fenrir Castle. So I decided I would actually look into putting together... Yes, I know. Alright, landscape. Use the same normals. There you go. Water has no normals. So. But, yeah, here we are. We can see that there's all sorts of water, but you can also see that the water level actually drops over here. So it is actually picking up, well, it is actually picking up height levels here. Although actually it looks like it's the same height. And if we render this out, it's just, you know, pretty much exactly what you see. The consideration of how to get all the textures for this, I've been considering a lot of different options. I would love to make it that the textures are, you know, dynamically done. So they're done with layers, and actually it would probably be better if I could somehow get it to work with... What? Okay, I opened up Node Editor and it crashed. Interesting. Well, we'll take this opportunity to rebuild. And, yeah, just to see what I could do with it, I said, okay, screw it. I'm going to load in all of Azeroth. I got about halfway through before I ran out of memory. I would need a minimum of 16 gigs in order to load all of them in high resolutions. So, maybe if I loaded them in low resolution. But it was, you know, for a brief moment I was able to see what, you know, they all looked like. And, well, half of it, anyways. I actually got all of, I actually had the camera placed in, Westfall. And I could see all the way to, Lordaeron. And that felt really good. I could also see a little bit of where Stormwind was supposed to be, so... Oh, no. Press the wrong button. Yeah. Yeah, here's the file. It's gonna say, oh, we can't find these. Yes, I know. Yeah, if I did low quality mesh, it would probably work. But, let's see. Ah, what the? There it is. I was actually in the process of trying to select not everything, but a lot of it, and just remove it so I could have a little bit more memory. But where this camera is, right here, that should be on a little hill on Westfall. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. So 30, 20. So let's say 24. So 2753. Westfall looks really different with nothing there. Oh, okay. So that's 27. So we want 28 and 29. And that started at 51. Okay. We probably only need through 24. And let's load 29 while we're here. Just so we have a little bit of, play. I definitely need to add a, apply to all button. Which means somehow I need to get a persistent thing. But, it probably also needs a timer. So, there we go. Westfall. The majority of Westfall. Lighthouse right there. So many little creatures. Which means Dead Mines is right here. Well, part of it. The back entrance to Dead Mines. Come up here, we have that little bit. Here's the town. So one of the things we need to work on next is getting the materials in here. Now again, creating the surface for these areas is going to be tricky because, here, let's get a good view. So you see all these little squares? Well, each chunk has, let me find a better spot. There we go. So I don't know if you can see it, but actually, yeah, you can. Ah! There. That is a single chunk, or a single tile. In here are 256 little squares. Each one of those little squares equals one chunk. Each chunk can have up to 4 layers of textures. The problem is there's no guarantee that the same layers are used in each 4 chunks, which means we could theoretically have 256 different textures being applied to one file. And I just had a huge sense of deja vu. So the big question is, how do we solve this? One option is we could just create a pre-made texture, and that would work. It means that for each one of these, though, so for each one of these, you would have a single texture that would be applied, and that's it. That's your only way of doing the texturing. It's not a terrible idea. I mean, if we actually look at it from a logistical standpoint, let's see, E drive, WoW files, game files 2.0, because that's the one we're dealing with. World, maps, Azeroth. So Azeroth alone has 687 world maps. So there are 687 little tiles like this, which means 687 textures to be applied. Now, if you come through and if we were to come through and reduce the textures or reduce the polygon count, textures would stay the same. So that's a bonus. But if we were to look at stuff, let's there are 3,700 and 600 yeah. There's a lot of points in here. Let's find one that doesn't have holes in it. I guess this one doesn't. That one doesn't. That one does. Alright, so here we are. 57,856 points. So from here to here is 5,000 is, you know, a good number. So that's just for this, because if we were to look at this, you know, you know, we got all that land, but so our image would have to be a minimum of that. I'm actually considering that. That was actually my thought. And I was going to get to that after I talked about the textures. But yeah. Point to point. You know, that means, let's see. I don't know, there's a lot. But let's assume that, I don't want to say polygon. Let's assume every point, well, number of points minus 1. At any rate, I know I'm trying to say something, I just can't quite grasp what it is. Okay, so let's actually come in here and look at the mesh. Now, as you can see here, there are 5 points in each little section. You know, that, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which means if I use vector maps, I could go, okay, here's 1 point, here's another point, here's others, and there we go. We're happy. Yes, but there are problems with what you're suggesting, so let me get through this first, and I'll explain why. So we're faced up with the first issue. You know, if we were to assume 1 pixel per point, so 1 pixel here, 1 pixel here, 1 pixel here, 1 pixel here, that's 4 pixels. But what about this middle one? So suddenly, you know, this one little chunk needs 9 pixels, because you need 1 here, an interpolate, you know, 1 here, 1 here, 1 in the middle that says, okay, what's this? Okay, what's this? Average. And actually, it would grab this one too. So it would grab the pixels for each of these points and average the ones in between. So that's one option. The other option is ignore the one in the middle and just do the 4 corners. Yeah, a little less accurate, but we don't have to interpret anything. And, you know, then multiply that by 9 by 9, which is what each chunk is. Then multiply that by 256. So that's a pretty big chunk of a pretty big texture. So, and then you multiply that by the 686 that there are for all the landscapes. That equals a lot of memory being used for textures. Now, the advantage of that is, let's say we wrote an algorithm that instead of writing a 9 by 9 of polygons, and actually here, let me 2952, huh? 2952. There we go. So this will give us a good example. So here is our high resolution model. We got the point in the middle and everything. Now over here, we have the same model. Whoa. We have the same model, except this is a slightly lower resolution. It's only grabbing the 4 corners. This does save you time and memory, because here, let's load up the property options. As you can see, while they have the same number of points for some strange reason, probably because I don't know how to remove points yet. This one has almost twice the number of polygons as the low resolution model. So if we were trying to load up all of Azeroth using just the low resolution model, that might work because it has literally half the points. Now, let's say we wrote an algorithm that said, okay, instead of doing 9 by 9 of just, squares, let's do 1 for each of them. So we go to one corner, we go to another corner, another, and that is 1 polygon. So we'll have effectively taken 81 polygons times 2, so whatever that is, 62. 162 polygons and shrunk it down to 2. With a texture image applied to that, it will stay the same. It doesn't matter how many points we have. We could actually make the whole damn chunk a single polygon, and the textures would still work. So that's the advantage. The disadvantage, though, is again all the memory needed for every texture for every tile. Now, conversely, we can actually go to a vertex system that, like Pink Hair was suggesting. We could actually say, okay, each point has a vertex color. And we'll say, okay, so, or, alternatively, we'll use weight maps, because that's a little easier to work with in Lightwave's surfacing. So let's assume weight maps. We'll put a weight map on every point and go, okay, these are the weight points for this is the points for that. All right, so what now? All right, well, we can then come in here into the surface editor and say, okay, well, let's, we can apply the Westfall dirt sand, and, that, it goes X, and that's 20 meters square. And now we can, and this is, by the way, the old method of doing it. We can come in here, we can do a gradient based on weight map, make that, black to white. And we select the weight map, and then we can and we set that to alpha, and now we can apply a new texture. That would work, except here's the problem with that. Let's go back to shaded. Oh yeah, this happens. I don't know why. The problem is, the weight maps used for this chunk right here is going to be different from the chunks around it. So if I apply, the weight map here, the weight map is going to not work here. Because, I could invert. The way it works is it's actually an alpha channel. So it's actually, it'll work here, but over here, that same weight map is going to have an inverse value. So rather than applying the texture properly, this one's going to be all wonky. And it's going to be the same, throughout it. The weight map system or vertex system or whatever you want to use is definitely a much more, I don't want to say fluid, but it's a method that will definitely work a little bit better because it's a lot more dynamic. We could actually come through here and make changes if we want to. That's the problem with the texture map. It's very hard to make changes, especially if you're doing changes to the landscape itself. And you can't really go in there and paint, oh, okay, I want to paint a little bit more landscape here. No, you can't do that. With the weight maps, it's a little bit easier, and vector maps too. Also, the other problem with that is when we go to this, the low resolution one, suddenly we have less points. We are far less accurate. Meaning that, all these points that I had set up in here, well, they're 1 point off. They don't have as much detail as they used to. Now let's go and say, okay, each one of these is a single point. All right, so we have 4 points for every map chunk. What now? Well, just apply it as best you can. And if we go 1 for the whole thing, that's even worse. Because the bottom layer texture on each chunk is different. So let's say that the bottom layer chunk for for this one is, let's see. Yeah, we'll go with Westfall Sand Base. Well, so we'll just assume that's the bottom layer. Well, that may be true with the chunks here on the edge or here by the lake, but let's go one or two chunks down. Suddenly, we're looking at we're looking at the dirt base or the grass base as the bottom layer. So if we keep applying the vectors there, it's just a huge headache to do that system. But it is a lot easier to work with. So the question is, which method do we use? Either way, it looks like we're not going to have a whole lot of help or a whole lot of data available to us. Well, it's not going to be easy either way, I should say. I am thinking, however, that no matter what, I am going to export all the texture layers, the alphas that are embedded in the texture, as weight maps. Whether we end up using that or not, we're just going to leave that in there for the end user to decide whether they want to use that data or not. And really, that might be the best option, is putting in an option that lets you do both. I'll definitely have to find a way to put in like hover, when you import and it brings up the options. I gotta find a way to give you tooltips. And that is where I will say, warning, this method does not create your textures. You will have to fake it yourself. Well, does not create properly layered textures, I should say. Of course, if I have to make it a base texture myself, that's another completely thing. On the other hand, it's entirely possible we can make it work using both methods. We add in the weight layers, and we add in some basic layers, but then we create a texture for the whole damn thing and just have that available to the user. So, while it may not be applied, it is there and they can use it. So that's another option. But even so, it's nice to go through here and see, lands that you remember playing. So, I think we've passed the point of interest for quite a bit of people. That's enough of the, alright, this is what we need to think about, and this is what we need to do. So let's actually get to doing it. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do, before we get too far, is actually come in here to, I think we're in the ADTs. Yep. I'm going to copy something I just wrote for WMOs, which is this end time part. I basically went through and created a time log. It's basically saying, ooh, did we close the... No, we do not. And yeah, let's not do that. And I think we can probably move that up to here. Yeah, I don't know why I decided to go nuts and say, destroy! We shouldn't be destroying stuff. Huh. Interesting. So that's why I didn't have that in here. But I do have it in here. Alright, I'm good with that. At any rate. Yeah, that's actually what I'm concerned about, is the difficulty level. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm concerned about too. Well, yeah, it's an extra, 3 to 4 floats per point. So, yeah, it's definitely going to inflate the file size. Okay, so what I just did was I told Lightwave that I want to time this. So now I have diff times and all sorts of stuff. There we go. Okay, so now that we've done that, we now have time. So whenever we do an import of a WMO or a ADT, it will import time and tell us how long it took to do the whole thing. You can see here, start time, and then it reads the map, and then it writes the map, and then at the very end we say, okay, it's done, end the time, and give us our time. Yeah. Grab the current time for the end, tell us the difference, and tell us what it is. And we have the same thing over here. That's much better. Total processing time. So now we'll know how long it takes to load up a particular file. So, question is, what do we do first? Do we work on ADTs or do we work on WMOs? Because both need work. I'm actually thinking WMOs. And we've got liquids going in the other one. Yeah, VMaps are a concern, but that's actually why I was considering a weight map instead. Because with a weight map, that's only one value, one float per point. So that's actually, slightly better file size-wise. But there's also a lot we gotta do with that little bit. Let's see, where is it? Oh yeah, I was actually going through reading all the file formats and stuff. And we want MCal. So, this is the data that we're going to need for the next part in the ADTs, getting the alpha channels, basically. See, as you see here, alpha maps for additional texture layers. There are 3 kinds of alpha maps here. Which one depends on MCLY, and another file formats. Yay! So basically, we need 3 flags to determine, what it is. If both are unset, it's uncompressed, and it's a 248. Actually, those work right now. If I were to, let me load this up. That was actually something I did quite a whiles back. In fact, I should have, yeah. Here's an old file I, wrote. Yeah, I created this particular image back in, February 28th of 2010. as you can see, Vertex Colors import. There's nothing in Fenris Keep, which you were right, Fenris Keep. I thought it was Fenris Castle, but Fenris Keep. Actually, no, we were both wrong. So, yeah. Well, this is the same program, actually, as what you're seeing here. But yeah, I did a lot of good work with the Lightwave exporter in WoW Model Viewer, and now it's gone. Not because I don't, mainly because I don't like what he's been doing with it, and I don't understand any of it. So I'm just kind of sitting back, letting him deal with it, and once the dust starts to settle a little bit, then I might come back and work on a Lightwave exporter again. Or I might not. What we're doing here is, well, way better anyways. But anyways, you can see that this imports color maps. So this is Northrend 2220. Yeah. Well, he had certain ideas in mind, and while I understand that, I think he went in wrong directions. Hey, I actually have 3.0 content in here. Awesome. Alright, so Northrend. And it was 2220. There we are. Now it's probably going to complain about not finding textures. Yep, not finding the textures. But as you can see, even with all our new options, it still imports the vertex colors. But only where needed. And actually now it supports water too, so that's good. I don't know why it's creating water texture when it doesn't actually have water. But, yeah, if we... So this support's been in Project Stormwind for quite a while. Ever since, when I started Project Stormwind, WoW Model Viewer was actually still pretty decent in terms of WMO exports. That's why I never really did anything on it. I was focused mainly on the ADT support. Because at the time, nothing exported ADT files. At least, not good ADT files. So there's that. Alright, so... Hey, facial hair, how you doing? Project Stormwind is my little attempt to load World of Warcraft into a 3D software called Lightwave. And actually, I've had some success with it. Let me show you how much success I've had with it. I exported this last night. So... And this is almost pure, purely import. No real changes. But I was able to import old data from the game. But yeah, it's not a WoW exporter, it's a WoW importer. It'll read the WoW textures, it will read, all sorts of stuff. So, it's pretty awesome. But the whole concept is to give artists and animators a way of importing the data and be able to, create machinima on a whole new level. Because, people could go in and they go to servers and they could go, okay, I need to be here or I need to be here. And, well, what if you need to be there, but you want to be able to do a shot or something, that's not possible in WoW? So, let's create a new camera here. And I'll switch this to shaded, or textured. Because, if you're playing WoW, even in, let's say that this is the modern Orgrimmar, and you want to go over here. Well, you'd come down, you go up, and, in you go, and yeah. Well, let's say what the shot you want is this. Seeing people walking by. You can suddenly do that. Anything you can do in a 3D animation program, you'll be able to do with this stuff. With this program. That is the goal. To give artists freedom. I mean, this is, again, old Orgrimmar. You can't get here anymore. So, there we go. It's a very nice camera movement. And then, let's say we get a character in here. We can have him, or her, walking along, and, maybe they stop and talk to somebody, or maybe they punch a guy out, or, yeah. That's basically what it is. It's a personal, sandbox. Except the difference is, this is using, high resolution, turning the game into animatable geometry. From here, I can do crazy stuff. Like, here, let me bring in something different. What is... No, I don't want to do that. Ooh. Oh, that would be fun. Okay, this is probably going to complain a little bit, but this is this is the kind of stuff you can do. Actually, here, let's as you can see, this is a constellation from Star Citizen. And now I'm having it land in Orgrimmar. So I can, do crazy stuff like this. It's, it breaks so much continuity, but, here, let's, so there. Oh, well, Project Stormwind itself is basically just the importer. But I've been working on it off and on for about 5 years now. There's been a lot of, just waiting done, just to make it so that it will, my skills will improve. That's basically what I've been waiting on. Alright, so let's see. Now, I could load this up with all the textures. That wouldn't be too hard at all, actually. But just doing a render of this... yeah, that's basically what it is. It's just waiting to level up. Yeah, well, one of the biggest reasons I stopped working on this and WoW Model Viewer has been that I've kind of lost interest in WoW. I don't really enjoy playing it anymore. I tried... Pandaria was okay. It was just kind of more of a grind than I would want. Really, the last good expansion was Cataclysm, and even that was kind of iffy. Absolute, no question, my favorite expansion is Wrath of the Lich King. That's where the game pretty much hit its height for me. But yeah, there you go. A ship from Star Citizen in Orgrimmar. You're not going to see that every day. But that's the kind of stuff that artists will be able to do once the project's complete. Be able to import come on, respond. Oh. I was wondering why it wasn't doing anything. Alright, let's parent this to the ship. Okay, so this camera is now attached to the ship. So wherever the ship goes, it goes. And you can see, this is an older style constellation. They have a much newer one that I'm actually working on pulling out right now. And actually, let's come in here. You can see whole bunches of problems with some of these textures. But let's see, hollow. I can make that transparent. Ish. But now we can see from the ship's point of view. The ship lands right in front of the bank. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff you can do with 3D software. Yeah, I could even create original content. I could create new characters and anything, and have them do whatever I want. I use Maya when I'm not using Lightwave, and I'm actually working on trying to get more into Maya because I like Lightwave. I think it's probably the easiest program to model in, but a lot of its capabilities is just no longer, enjoyable. Like, no, not enjoyable. It's just no longer, powerful enough. Yeah, pretty much. I pretty much taught myself what I need. Yeah. Alright. So, here we are. A nice simple camera move inside a moving ship. Yeah, competitive is a good way to phrase it. Now, granted, I think this ship is out of scale with Orgrimmar. In reality, it should probably be closer to that. So let's say 1.5. So that means that, the view is now this. As you can see, the ship, has to be adjusted. Yeah. Definitely not competitive, not as good in some aspects. Oh, accidentally scaled it up in the animation. So let's delete keyframes for scale. There's no way this ship would fit now, but... Oh, I would love to charge for this. I mean, I'm doing so much work trying to get Project Stormwind going, but I don't know. There's the part of me that's like, no, I'm doing this for people. Why would I charge them for it? On the other hand, this is a hell of a lot of work. Charging people, $25 does not sound outrageous to me. But, there's also the issue of, would that, if, not impinge, but, infringe? Would it infringe in copyright concerns from Blizzard? On the other hand, it's not like anybody else is doing this. Yeah, that's why I was thinking, $25. I mean, it's not a whole lot of money. I mean, if I was asking for $100, yeah, I would definitely think Pirate Bay would be a thing. But, $25, that's not a bad thing. Most people can make that in about 2 hours. And you would get basically infinite updates. I'm a big believer in buying software once. And basically getting it forever. But, at the moment, I'm thinking of just releasing it for free. I don't know. Would you people pay $25 to buy this plugin? I want to know your opinions. I suppose somebody who's really fastidious could probably just go through these videos and say, oh, well, here's the script. I can just, transcode it. Well, that might be true. Yeah, because, most people aren't going to get bent out of shape over $25. Yeah. I think my biggest problem would actually be coming up with the registration systems slash, well, pretty much anything else. Brewfest. I don't like Brewfest music too much. At least not this part of it. Yeah, that's the other concern is, there's not a whole lot of people doing this anymore. I'm mostly working on this because it's something I like doing and because it's something I feel always needed to be out there. It's one of the many reasons, thanks for this stream, one of the many reasons why I haven't thought about, charging for this. So, alright, you know what? I'm going to take a short break. I want to get a few things and have a little bit to eat, so I'll be right back. Ah, cherry Coke. Okay. No. Let's get back to actual coding now. I think we've done enough playing around in Lightwave. Okay, so we were looking at the MCal chunk. Now, there are actually, it says here that there are 3 kinds of alphas, but they have listed here 4. So, I don't know what they're talking about. If MCal is not set, and the WDTs are not set, then it's an uncompressed 248. That means 248 by 248. If it is set, then it means it's a compressed 248. If MCal's 200 is not set, but the WDT's is set, it means it's an uncompressed 496. Now here's what confuses me. They say there are 3 types, and yet if both are set, then there you go. It's compressed, but there's a concern about bit depth. So I guess just these are what you need, but both concerned about bit depth. Can have, and mostly does, the 8000 flag. If this flag is set and bit depth is 8, then modify alpha values so that there is a shadow. There is shadow at the corresponding position. The alpha value is multiplied by 0.7 float. Okay. That just seems weird. Ooh, sample C++ code. Winter's Grasp. Now here's actually something that they do, is apparently Blizzard now uses this for the figuring out the final colors. So, they'll take texture 0, which is the bottom layer, and then multiply that by 1 minus all the alphas. That's because, you want to mask that out before you apply texture 1, texture 2, and texture 3. So everything should equal 1.0 times color. But still, this is one of those things we got to figure out before we get too far into it. And according to this, we need to access WDTs. So let's take a quick look. Well, we have Azeroth and Azeroth WDT. So does it tell me where I can find a reference to the WDTs? And this is my hex editor of choice. I'm not seeing much. Well, maybe it's one of those things where you just load all the WDTs you can find in the directory. If we were to go with this, there's only one. Now, WDTs are basically the low-resolution height map. It's basically, all of Azeroth is the high-resolution map, while the WDT is the small one. Copy of Elwyn? Stranglethorn River, huh? Now, I did not make that copy, so this is actually from the game. But still not seeing... we have .light files. Yay! What do .light files do? They determine certain things with light. But yeah, I'm not seeing a WDT file in here, other than what we found before. Yeah, there's only one in this whole folder. What up here? Well, only one. So it might be one of those things where you look, you chop off the numbers for the ADT files, and then you look for a WDT with that name. Blackwing Lair? Yeah, that's true. Kalimdor. That's true too. Racer Friend Crawl Instance. Yeah, that's true too. Okay. So now we know how to find a WTT file. We just take the first part of the name and chop off the coordinates. And that creates that. What's the WLDL folder file? WDL, low resolution terrain. So WDT is a map. I'm sorry, I got that backwards. WDT is map data, while WDL is the low resolution height map. It includes WMOs that appear in the low resolution map. So we might have to have it, import this stuff too. Well, maybe not the WDL. Although we could probably use that. If we refactor the plugin a little bit so that... sorry. So that rather than, come in and the first thing it does is read WMO file, it gets this data and then determines if it's a... well, actually, no, let's go to ADT. So we have here the read ADT file. What we'd actually do is read landscape file. And it would go, okay, is this an ADT file? If so, first it would do, check all the stuff. Then it would go, okay, does the file, check the file name, get the file size, is it okay? And then it'll go, okay, is this an ADT file? If it is, go off this way. Is it a WMT file? If so, go that way. Is it a WDL? If so, go the third way. And so, that's one thought we could do. Is rather than just have this just ADT, it goes, landscape. We call this, basically a landscape importer. At which point we go here into Project Stormwind, C++, or C file. Seriously? You're taking time opening the file? Hate it when hard drives go to sleep. You come down here, I have it, ADT files. Well, rather than doing ADT files and all the others, we just say Project Stormwind landscape files. Or, that would probably leave WMO files the same, or call that world objects. And then we'll have another one called models. But you can see here, BLP reads BLP2 files. And I have a Project Stormwind master. I don't quite remember what I'm doing with that. Right now, it just checks for things and then kills a panel. So basically, it's for options, looks like. But I could just have this do landscape and then break it apart from here. So it'd actually go to a different header, I guess. But it's not a terrible idea. Might do that. Not tonight, but we might do that. Alright, so DDT files. Specify exactly which maps are present in the world. Yeah, map tiles, if any, and also reference global WMOs. Okay, so... yeah, this is a whole new model file that we need to probably learn how to read. Mod F. We've had those before. And frankly, what we could probably do is, we could just, modify the code so that, we can call certain functions from certain code. It's a thought. What's this about? Cataclysm? Fake water. Oh, that's right, because Cataclysm went to their new dynamic water system. I have no idea how I'm going to duplicate that. I might not. What we'll probably do is keep to the water system we have now. But what we'll do is we'll just leave it there, and it's basically up to you to improve it and make it better. We're just giving you the raw data to work with. On the other hand, it wouldn't be too hard for you to take what we have now for water and just add a little motion to it. You just motion plugins or something. It means we'd probably want to do it as a separate layer, though. I don't know. Opinion time. Would you like the water when you import an ADT layer, ADT object as a separate layer? So when you load an ADT, if there's water, do you want that on a separate layer inside the model itself? Opinions. Occlusion and lights for each WDT. Oh, World of Darkness. Alright, so we got versions. Maui. Maoa. LGTs. Oh, and we have some stuff here from Legion. Interesting. Okay, so where is this chunk that we're supposed to be worried about? MPHD. MPHD. Oh, the header. For some reason, I thought, MPHD! High definition MPs. Alright, contains 8 32-bit integers. Something, something, something. Something, 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 something. So it looks like all we need is open it up and read just the header. That shouldn't be too hard. Since we're using Azeroth as our test bed, let's open this up. Alright, data 4.18. Well, that's a version number. That's right. So flags are 32. Which means vertex buffer Okay, so if 4 shader equals 2, four or 8 set. I think 4 is set on this, if not 8. Wait, that's the wrong file. There we go. Alright, so if we assume 8, that means, let's see, 32 minus 8, that's still 24. Flips the ground display upside down. So I think both 4 and 8 are, and then 20. No, not 20. So it could be that these are all called, because that equals 20. That's 24. How do we get to 32 then? I don't know. See a list here. Normal. WMO. Interesting. Oh, wait. 32 is the size. I'm stupid. Okay, so nothing is set there. Good. Because that would be the flags. And a whole bunch of other stuff. All zeros. So no flags are set, which means for the first one, it's either compressed or uncompressed, depending on mclay. mclay. So either way, it's 248. Okay, so let's find that data. mclay. Processing layers. Alright, so we need a new function here. And it's got to be a child of map chunk. No, I'm going to make it a child of map tile. No, chunk, because it can be different for each one. But here's the thing. There's only one thing, so I could actually do map tile. So why am I arguing about this? Because if I set it under map chunk, yeah, if I go here, if I do it under map chunk and have it read the data into there, that means 256 times it's going to read that same data, even though it'll have the same result. If I do map tile, only once per tile will ever read that data. So what we'll do here is bool WDT flag set. So that's a very simple way of doing it. Void get WDT flag. There we go. Now we'll create that. I do like that little function. All right. Close that. Open this. And find... Ah, there it is. Oh, where's... Somewhere in here, there should be a map tile creation. All right, here we are. WDT flag set equals false. As you can see here, we assume that every ADT file is Cataclysm. Why do we do that? Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to be grabbing the most modern version of the game. That means it is a Cataclysm style ADT file. And why do we separate out Cataclysm? Because Cataclysm actually decided, You know, rather than have all the data in one file, let's split it into 25 or some shit like that. So we actually have to consider that when we do stuff. And in case you're wondering, these are veggie fries. They're basically potato chips made out of vegetables. Actually, they're straw-shaped. Veggie straws. They're really good. Okay, the flag is set. So now... Alright, so... String... WDT file name equals substring equals local, or do I have file name? Substring offset is 0. Count equals file name find first of. Character underscore. So WDT file WDT file name append dot WDT. WDT file name equals string, which is WDT file name as a C string. At some point, I'm going to make it that it'll just read a string directly. I don't have to C string it. Okay, good. I just want to double check that that would be fine. Alright, so... Alright, so could not open WDT file. There we go. Just put that in there real quick, just so I know that, you know, it actually was able to open the file. Alright, so this has to be a C string. Alright, let's see if this worked. Oh. I gotta get the flag. So, before we get too far into this, Let's just get the flag real quick. Alright, so build. Okay, there we go. Alright, light wave, objects, world. Oh, wrong monitor, sorry. Maps, Azeroth, 3030. Load. Okay. As you can see, this loaded just fine. Fenrir Keep is still available to us. Yay. I think one of the hardest parts is going to be when I start getting to a point where I want to add WMOs, but this lists like ones that are off the map. So what we might have to do is actually develop a WMO list from, or alternatively, look for other objects that already exist in that specific location. At any rate, now we need to open up okay, yeah, let's update that real quick. Yes, reload. Okay. Okay, obviously I put those numbers in wrong. Finished in 2.0 seconds. Well, -2. So, end time to start time. And we'll do the same thing over here, because obviously end time to start time. Yeah, it probably should be D for double. At any rate, what we wanted, and that was a good thing to fix, we want to go to the very top. Reading WTT file. Azeroth, alright, and it converted that to WT. Alright, file name, and it found it, and it successfully opened. Awesome! So, now we know that it successfully, found and opened our ADT, our WDT file. So now we need to do some file reading. To be honest, I was a little concerned that file name would not capture the whole path. Fortunately, I was, I didn't have to worry about that. All right. How do people not save every 5 seconds? I don't understand people who don't. All right. I can close this now. Yes. Save and exit. Well, just exit. Okay, so now we come down here. You know, we should check the file size. I don't know why that struck stat, but oh well. All right. There we go. Wow, my viewership just cratered, didn't it? Oh well. So now we have, now it's going to grab the WDT file, make sure it's the proper size. So now we're going to read it. We've opened it. Now we're going to check some data. If string compare mver all right. File is not valid. Well, is not a valid WDT file. WDT file ver. Okay, flip. If not, all right, so the first one is checking to see if it's a WoW file at all, because almost all of them have mver. The second one is checking to see if it's an actual, what's it? So let's check this again. MPHD. So MPHD. All right, so at this point we have successfully loaded our script, our file. Let's do loaded. Now, the nice part is we just need flags. So uint32 flags. At least I think what we want is 32. Let's double check this. Yep, you went 32. Because that's all we need. It's just the flags. We don't need anything else from this file. So we're just going to grab the flags. So, after that, at flags, 1, 4. Okay, read the flags. So, if flags and 4 or flags and 8 and then we have to put WDT DT flag set equals true. So there we go. And there we go. And we're just going to leave that commented out. Why? Because, you know, why not? Why not? Oh. F close. FP. Actually, I can do this right there. And we're going to set the flag to false just in case. You never know. Alright, let's build this puppy. Alright. Open. And load 3030 because that's our test bench. Check the script. WDT flag set to false. Awesome. Yeah, because it's, you know, it's 0, so it'll be set to false. I'm proud that we just did that. So now, when we come back to, oh, we can close that now. When we come back here, you know, we just have to check, you know, if 200 is set, and we'll already have a true false. So, if set and, you know, if set, you know, there we go. Now, since we know this is false, we know that it's either uncompressed or compressed. Because it's not going to be this bigger uncompressed, and it's not uncompressed with depth. But that's all stuff we got to figure out later. So, 8,000 flag. Oh, mother trucker. Oh, okay, good. Never mind. I was thinking, bit depth is 8. Wait, I actually need to get the number from there? And no, I don't. It just has to... Either one has to be flagged. Alright. So, what's the MCLY numbers? We can close this now. So, MCLY. MCLY. There we are. So, all sorts of data there. But this is MCal. So, MCal chunks in layers. So, actually, that should all be commented in here. So, let's take a quick look. All right. MCalif, processing 3 layers. MCal. There we are. There. That way we know it's, part of MCal. Kind of like how this is. So, MCal chunk found. Chunk size is 496 equals 248 layers. What? Also, apparently I tried to do a /n. It needs to be /n. Okay, so header. Should be n layers -1. Oh, size divided by. I think that was doing something weird. Actually, let's why am I minusing 1 here? I mean, it makes sense here. Or does it? I'm confused. So apparently, all right, so MCal come on, where is it? Ah. All right, so MCal. Bum. 3 types, yes, we know. Huh. Okay, so this actually tells us the size of the layers. I didn't need that other... Well, it tells me the size of the layers, not if it's compressed or not. So, alpha flag result. All right, so the chunk size is 496, which means each layer has, yeah, that's actually more accurate. Layer size is 248. This means that this is an uncompressed 248 sized image. All right, so okay, this is getting a little distressing. Read a byte, split the byte into two 4-bit values, e.g. that, and then that. The result is in 16 possible values for each pixel. Each byte contains two values in LSB order, first order. Should result in a 496 by 496 alpha map, 64 pixels by 64 pixels. Now this is the biggest problem with trying to convert it to a weight map, is that it's an alpha image, basically. Maybe the best option is just to read this out as target files or something, or PNGs. Not that, depending, what? Not that, depending on, what? Alpha map x63 equals x62. And all ignored values are ignored, while still preserving two. The frack! Alright. This is just so fracked up. I'm not sure how to even tackle it. Uint 4, huh? Needs to be normalized by shifting left and filling lower nibble. Oh, this is just so whacked. I honestly don't know what's going on here. So, let's put that aside for a little bit. And we might actually go digging into the WDT files, or the ADT files, to see if we can, find that. But first, I want to see if I can't find something else that reads it. Now, I do know that, at least at one point, WoW Model Viewer actually did read ADT files. Maybe not correctly, but they did. So let me check and see what they have available right now. actually, before I do that, I'm going to actually update, because I haven't done that in a while. So, synchronize. Alright. Pull. Probably so much data. Yeah. Holy crap. No, don't show me the difference. Just freaking update to it. Yes, update to that. Alright. Now let's see how this new... Yeah. So, here's the current source code for WoW Model Viewer. I always keep this available. So, okay, this looks like things really changed. Update. Yeah, WoW Model Viewer. Here we are. No, that's all the classic code. Core. Games. WoW. And maybe L for landscape? No. He has these two. WoW model. WoW item. Textures. Race info. Model event. Yeah, that might be what we need to do. Alright. So, we're going to try and get, we're going to see if we can get Nogget source code. Download mirror support thread. That's nice. I do like that. That's cool. Beam that file up, Scotty. All right. Oh. On GitHub. No, it's Jason. Nugget, world's first streaming JSON parser for Java. This is not right. Alright, so let's Modcraft? I don't know. Bitbucket. Here we are. So, pull requests, some fixes from Damon. So let's check the source. The DBCs. This is the DBC. So they listed as ADT? No. Environment. Liquid, log, map chunk. They separate tile and... Oh, maybe that's what it was. There's a map? Nope, I'm not seeing map. Tile? Nope, no tile. Okay. Modcraft DE. Alright. Super Paranoid, Modcraft Studio. Modcraft Super Paranoid? Or just Mod-Craft? Or Modcraft Studio? Well, not Mod-Craft. Modcraft Studio? No. So, Modcraft superparanoid.de. This looks like about it. Nugget. Look at changes for Bitbucket, which is exactly where we were. Okay. So we're actually in the right spot. So, there's the map tile. Here's the map chunk. So how do they do it? Ah, GL. I hate GL. They're trying to do all sorts of stuff with it. I can never figure out GL. Alright, has water. Yeah, I need to do that. Has water. Map tile. Yeah. Alright. Probably draw textures is what we're going to want. So, reverse, generate contours, create strips, map chunk. Okay, so here they're actually reading the data. Here's the read of the data. So, init textures. So that's what they do. So right here, that's, our code. It just gives me a whole bunch of information right now. And it reads the data. They just have that go off to a different function, init textures. That's probably good. And then here is init alphas. So now we need to find texture set alphas. So is that even in here? No. Nope, we gotta go over here to texture set. Init textures. So here it actually reads the textures. Init alpha maps. MCal base. Alright, good. Okay, so for the next 3, it generates 3 alpha channels. That makes sense. And you only get a total of 3. And end layers. So each layer, text flags plus 100. So if a layer plus 100, I don't know where text flags comes from. fseek mcal base plus mcal offset. Where did offset come from? I have no idea where mcal offset came from, so maybe that's back here. Okay, that must be something from texture set. Ah, yep, mcal offset. So how do you determine mcal offset? Okay, that's from when you init the textures. And you init the textures. This is map chunk, good. So, init textures from MCal. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's very clearly that this was based on way back when on the WoW model the WoW model viewer. I mean the very classic WoW model viewer before before things got out of hand. Probably the best way to put it. Let's see. I think I actually do have a classic WoW model viewer. The source code for it. Yeah, I do. Here's the map tile from WoW Model Viewer. And the other one. This was back when we actually, wanted to do stuff like this. Granted, this is all, kind of partially commented out, but... Yeah. Alright, indices, texture lists, model IDs, model definitions, object definitions, water. Map chunks. All right. MCals. Oh. That's interesting. Rather than doing continue, MCal always has the wrong, offset. Same with, MQ, the M liquid. There, right? Yeah, this is how the points work. Oh, they're kind of offset from here. Here we are. M. Cully. M. Cully. Ah. Oh, neat. Actually have some flag listings here. That's nice. So as you can see here, I pretty much have the same concept. Is just, read it into the thing. Of course, I do a vector. They don't. And they put it into Texture Manager. Yay! And then MCal. This is a lot of code. But, there's a lot to talk about here, too. So, let's see. So now we've got several things we can look at. Alright, so if flag and use alpha map equals 0, continue. Alright. Otherwise, bind texture alpha map -1. Now, the downside with using the map tile from WoW Model Viewer is a lot of stuff was really hard-coded into it and didn't allow for adaptability. That was one of the things I wanted to fix. But I don't think MCal really changed much. So input offset buffers. Nice. Let's see how that compares to Nugget with the input textures. Alright. And then init alpha maps. So init alpha maps. So fseek offset alpha maps layer -1 equals new alpha map. Oh joy. So where's the declaration for alpha? Alpha map. Here we are. So they made their code simple by really, modularizing this. Well, not simple, but at least less convoluted. I mean, they could, put, okay, get the alphas and have a completely separate and clear, system just for the alphas. Which makes a lot of sense, actually. So, file, flags for the layer, and then M big alpha. Big alpha. So create new, GL textures at map, which is there. If flags, read compressed. If big alpha, read big alpha. Else read not compressed. And delete, read compressed. Oh, look at that. That looks familiar. That looks very familiar. Okay, so while offset to 496. Haha, this code is identical. There's no difference. I'm comparing them side by side. All of this code is virtually identical to this code right here. So they basically just pulled this off into its own separate thing. So this is actually reading the compressed files. I'm willing to bet that it's basically the same thing on the other ones. So, I mean, even the names are the same. So, it's obvious that, where they got this code from. But I have to admit, I really do like that they have this off in its own separate thing. So, if the alpha data changes, they can, just, flip that up real quickly. And they don't have to go digging. Okay, it's somewhere in this big file. And actually breaking it up on our end is not a terrible idea. Oh, geez, it's already 4:30? Or 12:30. So, yeah, I'm sorry, we did a lot of research, but it's all really, necessary stuff. So, how do we want to deal with this? To be honest, I like the idea of breaking this up into, like, alphas and such. So, maybe that's what we'll do. Is we'll, I do want to take a real quick look, see... Nope. And here. Yeah, they include alpha map. Yeah, breaking this up actually makes a heck of a lot more sense, because then you can modularize it even more. The fact that, if we come in here, right here they have a MWO chunk and a mod F chunk. The fact that both of these are here, is quite interesting, because they're the same as the ones in here. We come up here. Let's see mod F. Yeah, there's a mod F chunk, and I'm willing to bet that these are almost identical. Yeah, ID, unique identifier. ID entry, unique ID. Position, rotation, upper and lower extents. Position, rotation, lower, upper and lower extents. Flags, index, name and padding. Flags, sets, name and padding. Oh, and Legion, it finally has data. Interesting. But, yeah, it's the same. So modularizing it that way would actually make a lot of sense, because that way I don't have to, copy this code into the WTT code in case we want to do both. So we might modularize this up and do it into chunks. So each chunk is a read this chunk. And the same with WMOs, I'm willing to bet. Yeah, WMOs split into file names, then split into file names. Now that that is true with some of them, but not necessarily all of them. I mean, we're not going to find a whole lot in to compare WMOs with ADTs. Maybe the MTEX. Nope, not even MTEX, because over here they have MOTEX. And what about the M2 files? As you can see, they don't exactly tell us a whole lot of the the stuff. M2s are actually mostly based in header information. At least the early ones were. Although they still use chunk data to some degree. But that's the early and equal to BC. Greater than BC, they had this, where they actually do have a little bit more data, but it's it's still mostly in the header. And it looks like they've made some changes for Legion. Versions. File versions get handled differently depending on this. Ranges are inclusive. Might be chunked instead. In this case, the magic will be anything but MD20. And M2 data will be MD21. Interesting. And then we're back to animation and stuff. But M2 is not something we're worrying about just yet. We're going to get as far with ADTs and WMOs as we can before we start working on models. Why? Because models, everybody has models done. I mean, that's going to be relatively easy. I mean, I could literally just copy what they have in WoW Model Viewer, and I'll have models. The hard part will then be converting that into Lightwave data. Okay. So, well, we know how to do compressed. I think we might actually do... I do like this idea of breaking it up. And I might actually spend a a lot of time off stream, cleaning up the code and breaking it apart, making it simpler. That's my thought. Yeah, okay. You know what? I'm really tired now, and I think I need a break from this. So, I think we'll call this here. We didn't get a whole lot done. In fact, give me a second, and I can tell you exactly what we ended up doing. I don't think it was much. I think we mostly did demonstrations and what's it? Research. Come on, computer. All right. So, let's come in here. We can see exactly what we did. This is the commit screen. We fixed some data in ADT. Well, mostly comment data. Looks like we commented out some older stuff. Oh, we got the WDT flag. So we got that all set up, and it outputs and it reads and outputs and all sorts of stuff. We got time set up, so we know how long it takes to process something. I had Ogremar processing last night. I have no idea how long that took, and I'm in the way, aren't I? But yeah, we got that done. So we got that. We'll now be able to tell how long it takes for a WMO to import and an ADT in seconds. Let's see, what's common? Oh, I just added time. And I added time to the WMOs. So, yeah, we didn't do a whole lot tonight, but we got a lot of research done. We found out, what we're going to have to do with the alpha channels, and, there's still the question of how exactly we're going to implement them, because the way they're dealing with it is as an image. The way I want to deal with it is a weight map, but I don't think that's possible, because there's going to be all sorts of little data. I mean, they can have little curly cues inside and swirls and all sorts of weird things happening inside each one of those 5-point boxes. So going with weight maps is not an option anymore. We'll just have to export. We'll have to see if we can export them as large chunks. What we might end up doing is actually taking each alpha layer and just applying it as a single image. So all the chunks, you have alpha level layer 1, alpha layer 2, and alpha layer 3. The problem then is just getting it so that it affects those layers. Now, what about the ones that have no data? So there's a lot of work to do there. We'll have to figure that out. I am going to go through here real quick, though, and I'm tired of it doing this. ADT. Chunks. What I want is down here. Normals. Here we are, water. So we want I'm going to actually do this. Bool. Actually, I could do this in a map tile. Yeah, that's even better. Bool has water. So let's come up here and make sure that bool has water is set to false. So by default, it's going to say, no, there's no water. And then we'll come up here. All right, if height values. It's greater than that. So if it finds height values, parent has water equals true. So there. Now we'll set that. And now we come down here to wherever it was, right here. If has water equals true, create the surface. This way, it will not create a surface if there is no water. I was actually having that problem earlier. And up here we have the watercolor being just, figured out. Alright, so let's build this. There, we've actually done something else. We've stopped it from generating water textures when you don't have water. And I actually did come across one or two landscapes that had that. I think it was 2929. Oh, nope, not 2929. So let's try 23 or 20. So not 2929, so 2829. Nope. So not 28, not 29. What about 3029? Nope, they all have water. Although, let's do 2928. Yeah, there we go. No water there. Not that I can see, at least. Okay, I need to definitely set that to double-sided. Alright, so... Oh, 2829, no water created. So I gotta set water double-sided. That'll help make it a little bit more realistic, but okay. That's awesome, though. Now we don't have to worry about that being created. And actually, we can probably reduce a little bit of computation. Because if has water equals true, there, that way we don't have to run through all the map chunks again. There, that will save us some cycles on ones that just don't have water. And the reason I have these up here is so that all the points go at once and all the polygons go at once. Yeah, okay, so we're good there. Alright, so there we go. That means the landscapes will build that much faster. You know, screw it. I'm tired. I want to get this fixed. Let's get the water for WMOs. Now, since we've already done a lot of this work for over here, we can actually just kind of copy it. Run button. Do we need a has water? I don't think we do. Yeah, I don't think we do. Well, we'll determine that later. Okay, so water point data, water polygon data. Was there any other data I needed in here? Yeah, correct water data. Is that something I have in here? No, I do not need to correct things. Alright, so let's come up here. Oh, we already have a MQ liquid. Cool. So we can read this information. Oh. Do I? No, I don't think I do. But let's go here. We need to go. Alright, MQ liquid is not found. Oh, that's the root file. Yeah, we don't want root file. We want this one. Liquid data. Liquid. Okay, so let's double check this. Location, material ID. Alright, so this is the basic header. So, From here, we will fread. Liquid head. Equals. We'll just do liquid head. fread at lickhead. That's not right. Size of MQ liquid 1, and it's group file. Okay, so I can close that now. So now, for lickhead, xverts times lickhead yverts so let's do size T I equals 0. I is less than those, and then I is multiplied. Well, expanded. Okay, so now float A float A2. Why? Because we need 2 floats. So fread and let's see, at A size of float count of 2 group file all right, so now huh. Okay. There we go, liquid height. Well, the reason we're doing this is because float no vertex float vertex 2 and uint 8 it's actually the same as the ADT files, or the mliquid file here. So it's 2 unknowns. And the tile flags, that's what they are. So actually, let's do vert x, float vert y, flag x, flag y. At least that's how I'm seeing it. Actually, let's just do flags. So, liquid WMO flag verts. Actually, no, height is actually accurate. Although they keep saying, yeah, I'm seeing here that it's supposed to be, basically this. So let's go. And what is this? Mlick. Mlick vertex. Which I think is, yeah. Vertex X, Vertex Y. I don't know why they're giving us 2 there, but, if we look right here, they say, float X times Y verts 2, so height map. Liquid data contains vertex height maps, X verts times Y verts times 8 bytes. So does that make it double? And the tile flags as described in ADT mliquid. Now, ADT mliquid, if we come here, they actually have 2 flags and then height value. So, I think the question is, I'm having trouble thinking of well, I know that there are ADTs with them, WMOs. I'm just trying to think of one that I know for certain. I don't think Goldshire Inn has any. Guard Towers, no. I know Stormwind has one, but I just don't know what ADT file it is. But there's a way to find out. Something I did earlier. Let's double check and make sure this compiles. Good. Yeah, we don't do anything with the floats, so that's okay. Something I did earlier was actually I made it so that we can import a single WMO from an object. So if we come here, go to WMO, and we can go to Azeroth, Buildings, Stormwind. Now, as you saw yesterday, if I try to load Stormwind, it's going to take a while. Orgrimmar took hours. But with the change I made, I can now select one file from the WMO and import just that. And it will take far less time. I mean, it's still going to take a little bit of time because it's got to load the root file, get all the data, and then, boom, there we go. So there's a little bit of Stormwind. We've actually imported Stormwind with Project Stormwind. So let's load a couple more. We got to find something that has water. Now this is going to take a little bit. Let's see, how long did it take? Okay, we can close that file. Open WMOs. Let's see. That's not right. That's not right either. Okay, so... Really? You're just going to give me these, hallways first. Alright, so let's load something else. Let's load 40. Grr! Huh. My bad luck. Let's try 20. $75. Okay, for some reason the timers on this isn't displaying anything. That's because I think I have it set to D and I need to set it to float. Or maybe even integer. I'm not sure which. So, alright, looks like 75 loaded. And 75 is the inside of a building. Still not water. Let's try loading 60 through 65. This is frustrating. But the nice part is we can go slowly like this. So we can actually, if we need to, we can debug little things. But also, lets us force it to load. And if I needed to, I could load them all as separate objects. Nothing worse than flat soda. Actually, yes, there is. Warm flat soda. Now, there's only one thing worse than warm flat soda, and that's warm flat soda that's not soda. Come on. Ah, finally. And it's still the inside of buildings. Okay, I'm curious. What buildings did we get the insides of? Well, that looks like part of an inn. And over here we got one of those. Okay. And we got a dark tunnel. All right, let's go nuts. Let's load up some of the last ones. Who knows? Maybe we'll find, the last one is all the rivers. Oh, what's that? What's this? What's this? It's flying through the air. What's this? What's this? It's boxes. And they seem to have the wrong texture on them. Yeah, that are their pillars of some sort. Okay. Okay, it looks like it's detail stuff. Alright, so let's try 200 to 205. Now, even though this has the option for load doodad models, it won't do it because we don't have, we don't have M2 files loading yet. But import collision geometry, that is available. Unfortunately, when you load it into Lightwave and try to render directly, there's collision issues and it causes transparencies. So unless you're planning to export it to a game engine, I would not recommend using importing collision geometry. Come on. Yeah, you're just sitting here watching me eat, waiting for models to load. I have absolutely no idea how I can make this go faster. Theoretically, this should be multi-threaded. But my CPU is not using nearly all of its power. Nor am I using all my RAM. Oh, hello. Check out my performance. My first CPU is pretty much maxing out on that, and I'm only at like 50% RAM usage. So, all right. So this is still not bad, but still not what we need. Alright, let's try 110 to 115. We'll find it. Don't worry. I'm not concerned. Okay. And here you can watch performance. Now CPU 1 is actually going up pretty steadily. The threading for it is a little bit high, but a little low actually. So this is clearly not a multi-threaded system. Now, whether that's Lightwave's fault or my fault for not programming it to be multi-threaded, I don't know. But you can see my RAM is barely moving at all. Nose is starting to run. I must control it! So this is pretty fitting, I think, that we're loading, trying to load Stormwind in Project Stormwind. Also, I was hoping it would go quickly yesterday, but apparently it doesn't. And it'll just take its time. Now, one of the reasons it could be taking its time is because I'm running the debug version. And there's lots of, writing it's doing to the log file. So there is that possibility. I'm going to turn up the music while we wait.
Ya huibong suda Shingbea song huikwan shangfui Liu long Su wi gu gi biao Ja fu ma shui ya Ni an fong du ja fu i ki Wan ja Su wi hu Iguan
Okay, so one of the things I've been doing while we're waiting is I've been going through these Stormwind files, going, okay, let's look at the file sizes. And, most of them are about the same size. But I noticed that over here, there's, 57 and 58. They're 110 and 144 kilobytes each. So they're probably going to have some massive data in them. So as soon as... oh, Lightwave stopped responding. Stop. Yeah. Okay. This does happen every once in a while. Oh, over here. Let's rebuild. And actually, this probably could be integer, but oh well. Actually, over here, let's fix this one too. So let's load up 57 and 58. We'll load them up individually though. So 57 for first. And I think that's probably half the other issue is we're, trying to load so many big files all at once. All right, here we are. Ah, okay. That's pretty far away from center. In fact, I think that's in the Mage District. Alright, 58. No, it seems to be pretty consistent with terms of usage. So I don't think it's a CPU concern. Alright. So that's another inside little bit. This one, of course, looks like a tavern. I don't remember a double-sided tavern. That's probably going in somewhere. And judging from its location, I'm thinking that's in the church district, or it's it might be in the one of the alleyways, one of the river banks, or it could be surprising me completely and is actually part of the Dwarven district. All right, so let's find another big file, and actually let's make this a little easier for us. Details, sort by file size. So the largest one, holy crap, 285 is 1.3 megs. That's going to take a lot to import. A long time. So 285, huh? But you know what? It probably has water in it. Ooh, Golden Lotus. Probably the best of the lotuses. Except White Lotus. You never bet against White Lotus. Because if you do, Uncle Iroh will come and beat you up. My uncle can beat up your uncle. My uncle's dead. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't do a good Zuko. Or Aang. Although my Uncle Iroh is actually pretty good. Nephew, you must learn to control your anger. How could someone say something so disrespectful to tea? Yeah. Not the greatest, but, you know, it's still pretty decent. Okay. Oh, something I want to point out. Tonight, well, tomorrow, rather, I will most likely not... Well, actually, that depends. I may not stream tomorrow. That depends on what time I can go see Deadpool. In fact, I'm going to look that up right now. While that's still compiling. Yeah, leave that up. Alright, let's take a quick look here. Oh, there's one at noon. I might do that. Unless... Oh, wow, Star Wars is still growing strong in this theater. Kung Fu Panda, How to Be Single, Finest Hours, and Deadpool. Isn't Deadpool in 3D? Because, you know, at least my theater's not showing it in 3D. Apparently a lot of people have a Deadpool 3D model. Production. Huh. Alright. Good night, Pink. I'm not going to be doing this too much longer. I'm basically waiting for that one model to load, and I think that's just planning on taking forever. But I'll, as soon as it loads, or if I give up beforehand, I'll probably stop soon anyways. But yeah, it looks like Marvel's Deadpool movie is not in 3D at all. That's interesting. That's kind of too bad, too. Alright. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think I need to go to bed, too. Or at least, you know, stop playing or stuff. Maybe I'll play a game. I don't know. I just need a break from this for now. Alright. So, yeah, I'm going to call things here. Thank you for watching, everybody who joined me. Facial hair, pink hair 3D, a couple other people who commented way back there. Boing Boingy. Let's see. Just scrolling back up. I think that was everybody. Oh, Dylars, thank you. Yeah, that's everyone. As always, you can donate to the stream down here. You can watch it live up here. You can donate also on Patreon if you're into that. Follow me on Twitter. I'll let you know if we're streaming and when we're streaming and usually what we're streaming. I would like to take this moment to remind everyone I will not be streaming on Valentine's Day. So that's this Sunday. So don't mark your calendars for the 24th or the 14th rather. Yeah, that's about it. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment if you have an idea for a game or something you'd like to see. Tomorrow I am going... Well, basically overnight I'm going to let this load all of Stormwind. So we're going to get something. And I'm going to try and find out exactly, you know, what file is what. So we'll actually have some data to compare to when we do the load, you know, liquid files. So, alright. That's it for tonight. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow at 10 p.m. Good night, and goodbye. Holy crap, it just finished loading. Yeah, we're gonna come back here for a brief moment. So this is what that big file was. The trade district. So that was a lot of stuff. Alright, so I'm going to keep doing stuff like this, and I'll see you later. Bye.